B. Peterson. Hello, this is Jackie B. Peterson, and I am your host today for our webinar on Best Beginnings, which is a method for starting your solo business, successfully starting your solo business. I have a co-sponsor today, my guest. I'm really honored that Dr. Dan Critchett can join me. Dan is the host of the popular radio show Second Half Now, which is on KKPZ, The Truth, 1330 AM radio. The focus of his show is to create a collaborative community for boomers and beyonders. He's been an ordained minister for more than 30 years with a specialty around the baby boomer generation. Dan has worked directly with hundreds of people of his generation, helping them deal with the changes and challenges of life, including creating meaningful and profitable income-generating businesses in retirement. Dan's goal is to bring information and inspiration to those in the second half of life with engaging topics and practical wisdom and suggestions for purposeful living. So Dan, welcome. I'm delighted that you are here.
Thanks for having me, Jackie. We've got a lot of good things to talk about.
We do have a lot of good things to talk about. The other person who is on this webinar with me is my colleague, Susan Taylor. Susan is one of the principals of Imagine Productions, and Imagine Productions has been very active in putting this webinar program together. And Susan is manning the backstage, if you will, for the webinar, catching people's questions, and one of her jobs is to make sure that the follow-up question gets asked, that we don't gloss over things that might leave our listeners with misunderstanding or confusion or with the next question. So, Susan, welcome.
Thank you, Jackie. I'm ready for whatever needs to be answered.
Wonderful. And I know you ask good questions. I've been the person that has gotten those questions from you, and they're always exactly what needs to happen. So as I say, I'm really, really delighted to welcome all of you to this webinar. And I want to introduce listeners to what I call my business building methodology. It's brand new, and it's called Best Beginnings, and it's a whole new product. I've been working with solo businesses for many, many, many years and have worked with people through my book, Better, Smarter, Richer, which really is a methodology for solo businesses. And now we have a new approach called Best Beginnings, which is a webinar series. So I'll just give you a little short about it. It's going to start in February, and I actually think it's going to be life-changing for the new entrepreneur. And it's based on the Better, Smarter, Richer method, which I've used for years with my clients. And I am going to explain why I saw an urgent need for Best Beginnings, and then we'll talk about how it works and what makes it different from any other approach to starting a solo business. So here's a few housekeeping notes. I want to encourage our audience to ask questions as we go, and you can type them right into the chat box on the screen. And Susan will, make sure that we catch the questions and get them answered. And also, if you don't want to ask as we go, we'll have a little bit of time at the end where you can ask your questions. So, and listeners, I also want to encourage you to just stay till the end, because we've just got a very special offer for our listeners today. And, it'll come up at the end, and I think it'll do something that pleases your hearts. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Better, Smarter, Richer. I think it's a groundbreaking method for being successful as a solo. It works, and it has worked well for literally thousands of clients. But what's happening today is that millions of people are trying to start their own businesses, and I think they're getting bad advice. They're being told that unless they build a business based on the traditional corporate structure, they're going to fail. Now, the corporate structure, the corporate approach, requires that an entrepreneur build a business that will ultimately have him or her as the president, overseeing a company of managers and workers. So if the initial spark for that business is hands-on work, such as creating hand-built pottery, delivering life coaching seminars, being a painter or a consultant or a musician, then the corporate methodology just simply isn't going to work. Because in a corporate methodology, all the work of the enterprise is done by a staff of employees, and the entrepreneur spends their time overseeing the staff, worrying about getting bigger, worrying about making more money and satisfying investors. This does not work for artists, consultants, healthcare providers, and many, many other professionals and individuals who just don't want to abandon the creation of their work to a group of employees. And lots of people who had a thought of starting a business look at that corporate approach, and it just so discourages them, they decide never to start a business. And I think when somebody backs out of bringing their talent, their joy, their excitement to the community, to the workplace, we all lose. We all miss out on what they were bringing. So there's me, and I'm going to tell you that I simply believe in your success. You do not need to be afraid and look at that corporate model and say, this isn't for me, I'm not going to start a business. My method, Better, Smarter, Richer, makes it possible, even necessary, whether you're going to do a product or a service in your business, to be done by an expert, and that expert is you. And I'm just determined that we do not waste invaluable talent, your ideas, and we can't afford to waste that. So I hope you'll stay with me for the next 45 minutes or so to learn how you can fulfill your personal dream of a successful solo business. My clients have often told me that they love the solo business method, Better, Smarter, Richer, but that they need help with the very beginning steps. That's how we came to Best Beginnings. They're unsure how to select the best business, how to overcome anxieties about asking for money, how to talk about themselves and their brand new business, how to manage the tasks they know are necessary, about which they know next to nothing about doing them. I meet literally hundreds of beginning entrepreneurs, and I began to realize that there's just what I feel is an urgent need for what I'm calling Best Beginnings, which is a safe and structured method for successfully beginning a business, even if you have no idea what you might be best at or what you need to do to get started from scratch. So Dan, do you find people that are uncertain about starting a business and just kind of don't know what to do?
Well, I find that people are, approaching these years beyond 50, and they're looking at their situation, and they, get up on a Thursday morning and look at themselves in the mirror and say, shoot, do I want to keep going to this same old job for another 10 years? Or, they're having to find a way to supplement their income, or they're going to be downsized, or things aren't, looking all that promising as far as keeping that job that they have. And so some of them, a number of them, are thinking, well, what can I do? So, we talk with them about, what do you like to do? What's meaningful to you? What are you good at? And we just start talking about how you could, we use the word monetize. How can you monetize that? How can you actually make an income doing that thing? And I think there are a lot of people that just want to make a difference, and sometimes it's a revenue producing or income producing. And so, we want to point them in the right direction to get the kind of help they need, even to assess whether what they're thinking about makes any sense, in the marketplace, or whether it's something that would be beneficial to them. So that's how we approach it.
Amen. You're just right on track with what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Here's some of the fears I see that people have. I don't know what to do. They say, I don't know what to do. I'm not good at anything. How can I get started? Or they say, I've got lots of ideas, but I don't know what will work and make any money. And they say, this might work. Maybe this is a good idea. Maybe that's not. What if I fail? What'll I be? And so I see a lot of people that are, as I say, confused and confounded. And, and they don't know what they should do. So we're going to, like you're trying to do, help people move through that process and identify what they can do, what they can be good at, and what's going to make some money for them. Another fear I hear people have is they say, oh, I can't start a business because if I start a business, I'm going to have to raise a lot of money. I'm going to have to find a venture capitalist. I'm going to have to get a loan. I'm going to have to write a huge business plan. What am I going to do? And they get just really daunted by thinking about the money that they need to start a business, and they stop. They don't go forward. So again, this is something that we're going to talk about, and we'll talk a bit more about it in this webinar today about some of the solutions that are out there for people. Then this is the biggie, okay? This happens a lot. A huge fear that stops people from starting businesses is that they think they're going to have to hire employees in order to create a business. And when I tell them that a solo business means that you can grow and succeed without hiring people, a look of total relief crosses their faces. And I'm going to say to you, yes, you can do this, and you can do it well without hiring employees, and it doesn't mean that you yourself have to do all of those tasks. So you have to do the major work of your business, but you do not have to do, and you can't do, all the administrative support work of your business. So I think that often creatives and encores and consultants and healthcare professionals and other professional providers, I have just kind of gotten the idea that they can't have a solo business and be successful. And I know that's not true. So what we're going to be talking about is a business method that allows the entrepreneur to be the entrepreneur. And that means they get to do what they love, and they don't ever have to turn into an unhappy manager or an overworked, discouraged, unhappy owner. We're going to teach you how to use what we call the water bug model. It's our trademark business model, and it means that you can get the support you need to start and grow your business without hiring employees. And in fact, if you actually do hire employees, it's going to negate a lot of the benefits that you get from being a solo. I love this picture. I love this picture. Hiring people to do your work, this is what we think that we're going to have to create if we create a business. And we've been told a lot that hiring people is the only way to succeed. And the work itself is at the bottom of the pyramid if you think of the model or the shape of a traditional business. It's a pyramid shape. And at the bottom of the pyramid is actually doing the work that you and I love to do. And at the top of the pyramid is someone who is the founder, who's now going to spend their time not doing what they love, but instead directing the work and a staff of managers and then the employees. You know, solos aren't interested in that. They don't want to work that way. What they want is to do the work, create the art, hands-on, person to person, delivering the services that they love. So our method talks about doing the work and not managing a staff. It's really amazing. Here's another one. People are really terrified of this. I'm deathly afraid of selling and marketing myself. I just don't know how to do it. And I'm shy, I'm an introvert, I don't know how to say it, you know. So if I'm going to start a business, I'm going to have to be into sales. I think sales is kind of sleazy, and I just don't want to do that. So I've got to tell you that story of being an introvert has been mine as well. I did not start out finding marketing and sales easy, but I have learned, and the tools that I've learned is what I'm going to teach you. And I want you to understand that from my point of view, marketing is at its root being enthusiastic and caring and on purpose and motivated by what you do and how you can make a difference in the world. And that's the basis of any good, strong marketing. Other than that, we're going to teach you some other tools that are going to help you feel confident. One of those is articulating your unique value proposition. One is understanding your target market and also knowing that you can hire other people to help you with your marketing. You can outsource it. There are people today who you can hire who can help you with your social media. They can help you with your marketing administration, and they can help you keep your website up to date. You do not have to learn HTML to have a good website that serves your business. In fact, I just assumed you didn't. I don't want you to go that way. I want you to spend your time doing what you love and what you're really good at. Here's another one that comes up. I just don't believe I'm good enough to have a business. Too young, I'm too old. It's in my head. I tried it once, it didn't work. You know, all those things. Not believing that you're good enough to have a business. I think there's a lot of programming that a lot of people carry around, and some of that programming that is negative came to them early in their lives, you know, being told that there's no way that you're going to be a success on your own. But I think another set of programming has come to a lot of people, particularly the encores, where say they've worked for corporate America for 30 to 35 years, and they've kind of gotten the idea that what they've done in corporate America is only valuable to the company where they were on the payroll, that it does not have anything or any value that's worth something out in the common marketplace. I say, balderdash, that's crazy. So I like to tell my encores particularly, you know, you not only know things, which makes you marketable, but you are unique. You have a unique view of the world because of who you are and your life experiences, and there are potential buyers waiting for what you are going to bring to the marketplace. Best Beginnings is going to help you gain that confidence in what it is you have to sell, because you will know exactly what it is you have to offer and to whom. We're going to practice and practice on getting very clear about exactly what it is that you have to offer and how you differentiate yourself from anybody else in the marketplace. And that knowledge is going to support you as you move forward. Here's another fear we find people come up with. What if I have nothing new to offer? It's already been done, others are doing it, the competition is fierce. And you know, it feels that way. There's 30 million solopreneurs now, and the competition does feel fierce for whatever it is that you're going to do. But you know, if you think there is nothing new, you need to spend some time, and we'll talk about doing this, going out with your idea, investigating and explore and see what others are really doing. Go to their website. Take a look at what they're really doing. And, you know, if you make a list of potential competitors, go to their websites, read carefully, and the next thing you know, what you're going to find out is that they are offering something that is different from the way you plan to offer it. They're making their product offer to include different features and different approaches than what you're going to offer. So they're different from who you are. And we're going to help you look closely at what's out there and distinguish yourself. Make what you offer distinct and different from what is already there. And often this is really enough to help you understand that what you plan to bring to the marketplace is unique and needed. And it is enough to build the foundation of a successful solo business. So you can hear with those fears that people have, and I hear them a lot, that Best Beginnings is really different. Best Beginnings is going to address your concerns. It's going to give you the emotional support that you need to deal with these misgivings and worries. And it's also going to give you realistic, practical, grounded advice. I've been a coach for nearly 40 years, and all that experience is coming forward to support you in your solo enterprise. And that's what it's about. So, you know, often creatives, encores, and health services professionals, as I said, are being told that they can't be successful in a solo business. And what we're talking about is really based on years and years of working with solos, and this system is great for creatives, but it's also perfect for encores. And you know, encores are those over 50 who want to spend their next 30 years doing what they love and securing their retirement. How about you, Dan? Does that appeal to your client base as well? Do they want to do that?
You know, I think our people are driven by what really matters to them, and they don't want to run a business necessarily. There are those who are business minded, and give them anything and they can run a business. But the people that we talk to really want to be engaged in something significant and don't want to be bogged down by all the details of running a business. They just know that they have to engage in that way to get to where they want to be, by fulfilling what they regard to be their purpose or their calling or their passion. So it's a kind of a combination. I mean, we do have people that, think and say, oh, I've always wanted to run a business. Well, what kind of business do you want to run? Well, I don't care, any kind of business.
Yeah, yeah.
But then there are those who just want to do something. They want to make a difference, and then they have to learn how to put that into practice without learning all the business stuff. When you were talking about you don't have to learn HTML in order to have a website, absolutely, you outsource that. I mean, I don't do that. We've got a team, we've got people that do that because that's what they love to do. So when you find good people, they're valuable.
Just like we've got a team then on the webinar. Absolutely, you develop your team. Yeah. And, I love that. I love that the meaning and the value come first, and that's why we spend so much time with people, having them look at what is the uniqueness, no one else like them on the planet, that they are bringing now to the, to the marketplace, to their activities. And I've said this, and I think I said this when I got to be a guest on your show, that I say to people, you have a unique gift to bring to the tapestry of all of life. And if you don't bring it, there's going to be a hole in the tapestry. Mm-hmm. We each have something to bring, and what a wonderful way this is, and what a wonderful thing for Encore to be able to bring that, and have that opportunity. I love that.
Well, I think a lot of people in our age and stage don't automatically know that, Jackie. They know what they care about, they know what they've been fairly good at, but they don't necessarily perceive it as, shall we say, it being marketable or something that they could actually, have some kind of a income from.
Right.
So they just say, well, this is me and this is what I've been doing, and I don't know if I can make some money at that. And so when something comes along to at least present that possibility, I think they want to listen to that and say, okay, what if I could spend more time doing what I love rather than just kind of having it as a hobby or as a spare time kind of a thing? And what if I could actually spend more time doing that? And I think people are, they're wanting that because they're, kind of tired of the old grind, and maybe they're empty nesters, and maybe they've got their circumstances and situation kind of squared away in the 5 core life areas that we talk about. And we always have the phrase, little phrase called "so that." In other words, so if you get your finances in order and you get your family relationships are good and you take care of those 5 core life areas, that's not an end in itself. It's not a stopping point. It's so that now you can do the kinds of things that really matter to you. And if you believe that you're placed on this earth to do something in particular, then you start looking at that and you say, okay, that's what I want to do. And for some people, actually, it's less about creating income. But gosh, if I can have an income while I'm doing that, then maybe I can help the grandkids with college or help them, buy a house, or you know what I mean. It's it's doing what really engages them. I mean, we go back to the Vietnam War and the Kennedy assassination and all those things, and we're world changers. We've always had a desire to get in there and get involved and get engaged and make a difference, and that hasn't changed, but our world has. So we still have that sort of latent drive and desire inside, and we're different people now. 50 years later, we have a different makeup because we've failed at some things, we've goofed up some things, made some bad decisions. But if those are learning events, then we're all the more valuable, and that's something to overcome. I think. Say, well, my kids aren't all squared away, and I'm struggling financially, and so what do I have to offer? So that's where our people are.
Amen. That's wonderful. And solopreneurship is just a wonderful way to accomplish all of those goals and insights, and bring them to being, rather than say, I've never been able to fulfill this purpose. I've never been able to make it happen. So let's talk about artists for a minute, because a lot of our solo business builders are artists, and I think many of them settle for, which is what this picture is all about, they settled for that little piece of crust instead of the whole piece of bread, because they kind of get into the point where they haven't been able to figure out how to make their business work, and they end up living on a starvation diet. And and they don't budget into their price enough to do the things that make life really valuable. And they don't budget in for even sometimes their own health insurance or their own retirement or their kids through college or reducing their debt. And they've kind of often fallen into the concept of, if you're an artist and you're really making money, you must be selling out. So we're going to talk a lot about charging enough money for what you do, whether you're an artist or an encore. Best Beginning is going to help you take a look at all the elements that should go into your pricing and learn how to quote that price and feel good about it and get it. So this is back to our encore audiences. I say, encores, just like you said, Dan, can monetize their expertise and fulfill their purpose and support their retirement and at last do something they truly love. I think that's so important because I think that's that love that guides us towards our purpose. Well, what is it that I really care about? So we're going to help encores capitalize on their expertise, and this is getting to be a very popular way for people to fulfill their goals and support their retirement, because there are more businesses being created by those over 50 than any other age group. I think that's a stunning statement. And we're living what is being called the longevity bonus, which means there's an extra 30 years or so of life beyond what any other generation has ever experienced. And it's a gift and it's a challenge. And it's a gift, because nobody ever has had this time of life before. But it's a challenge because even people who saved for retirement and saved well for retirement and planned for retirement might find that they had planned to be another 10 or 15 years, but all of a sudden looking at 25 or 30 years is quite a bit different. And I think this is a huge opportunity for people, to take this really wonderful, healthy time in their lives when they're experienced, they're wise, they know things, they are energetic, imaginative, they're more purpose-driven, and really be able to do something with that period of life. So I want to tell you also that Best Beginnings is experiential. So what that means is that instead of the common wisdom that says to start a new business plan, you have to have an extensive written business plan, or you can't go anywhere, I'm going to say that's not true. The successful entrepreneur must have a general plan of action, but it needs to be short, flexible, and ready to change from one approach to another based on how you interact with your customers. I'll show you a picture of that when we get a little further into this. The successful entrepreneur asks questions, analyzes the marketplace for what it is not offered, and changes and adjusts their business to take advantage of what is needed and wanted by the marketplace. Agility is the best way to find success, not being saddled to following a fixed and unmovable business plan. So here's what you will learn in our 7 webinars. Number 1 is called, What Should I Do? So this is designed to take the mystery and confusion out of taking the first step and figuring out what it is you want to do. So this isn't magic. This takes hard work, a lot of introspection, a lot of thinking, but first, you must focus on one thing. So we're going to help you choose that one thing to focus on by looking at a variety of alternatives and giving you tools to look at those alternatives. So I always say you can't be both an interior decorator and a massage therapist, okay? You also can't be both an attorney and a personal trainer. That isn't going to work. So for your entrepreneurial venture to be successful, you've got to present yourself to the world as one thing. Of course, you are many things, but I want you to present yourself to the world as one thing about which you focus. And of course, you can continue to do the other things that you do. You just do them as a volunteer, or you do them as a hobby, But when you are talking about what is going to make you money, you want to lead and talk about one thing. It's really important that you do that and that you are very good at it. So once you have chosen your one thing, then we're going to help you find what I call your sweet spot. Looks a little sweet there in that picture, doesn't it? And this is where your passion for what you are doing, combined with your talent for what you are doing, intersect with a potential flow of revenue. In other words, enough customers willing to buy, what you're doing. Well, you've got to have all three elements. Without all of them, it's very difficult to be successful. Now, passion and talent, a lot of people choose those. I've got a passion for this. I've got a talent for this. I'm going to go into business doing it. That often doesn't work because the revenue isn't there. Then people will say that I'm going after passion and money. I've got a passion for it. It makes money. And they forget that you have to have talent to be able to do it in a skill set. Because without that, you're not really going to be good at providing, the product or the service that's being offered by your business. And although this is hard to believe, choosing to get the other two out of three, just talent and money, that doesn't work either. Because what you really have to have is a passion or purpose or meaning for what it is that you are offering. That's what carries you through. That's what carries you through dark February, rainy, cold mornings. But it's also what carries you through tough times, times when you have a setback, times when things aren't working. You must have that passion. So we're going to take you through a process that's going to help you look at your life and discover the place where these three pieces intersect. So this is a Venn diagram that we use, and you can see where there's an intersection of passion, talent, and money. That's your sweet spot. So we'll have you be in that focus of your sweet spot, and then once you are there, we're going to talk to you about digging deeper. Okay? I'll say to people, every time you think about going sideways, go deeper. For instance, if you didn't know whether you were going to be a massage therapist or a interior designer, so if you decide to be the massage therapist, then what I want you to do is choose a focus, a specialty, develop an expertise, a mastery for a portion of that particular area of work. So you can't just be a massage therapist. There's thousands of them out there on the marketplace. How are people going to distinguish between you and anybody else? So what you do is you develop a specialty. And you say, what I do is I work with pregnant women, or I work with elders and people with arthritis, or I work with people who have sports injuries. Well, let's say you go the other way. You say, I'm going to be an interior decorator. This is what I care about. And I'm going to say, then let's develop a specialty, a focus, or an expertise in one area of interior decorating, such as working on mid-century modern homes, or working on remodels or offices. So step one, develop your skills and reputation in one area of your focus. Specialization is what leads to financial success. Next question that comes up in our second webinar, how should I begin? This is our nuts and bolts webinar. This one talks a lot about just plain what steps do I have to take to turn my idea into a business. So we go through the steps. We've got to name it. We've got to create the right business form, register it, fund it, open a bank account, start to offer services, find your first customer, have a package of how you sell your services and what you offer, have a pricing model, all nuts and bolts in this one, so that you can say, okay, I've got my idea. Now we're going to take that idea and we're going to turn it into something that is a solid business ready to move. Next question, what is it worth? How do I know what to charge? How can I bill anybody? So this is one of the places I get after you as starting a business, because if you're going to be successful, if this business is going to survive, you must charge enough for your work. I see one of the biggest reasons that people fail is that they do not charge enough money for what they do. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid their customer is going to go away. They're afraid they're going to get involved in some big argument with people over money. They're afraid that they're going to be, turned down. And here's the truth. If you do not charge enough money, people do not think you are any good. And if you take this course, you're going to hear me say that many times because it is true. If you do not charge enough money, people do not think you are any good. And so that's why we're going to work on you distinguishing yourself, on making sure that you're providing the quality that's important, and then being able to talk about it so that you can charge enough money to keep providing a flow of income and energy, money energy to your business to keep it going. In addition, if you don't charge enough money, what happens is you can't afford to live the life that you deserve. Now, I'm not talking about driving a yellow Ferrari. I'm talking about a life where you live a nice American middle-class life. You can afford to support the charities you care about. You can afford to send your kids to college or take care of your grandkids. You can afford to make your mortgage payments. You can afford to take a trip periodically and take a vacation. That's what charging enough money is all about. And if you don't charge enough money, you cannot afford to invest in renewal and regeneration. You can't afford to learn, take the time to learn about new tools, new techniques, new approaches, new ways of doing things, new places where you could go. And if you can't charge, or if you don't charge enough money, you really can't afford the help that we were talking about, the outsource help, the webmaster, the social media person that's going to help you with your marketing. And the things that you need to do to look as professional and qualified as you are. You need to get paid enough for your work. And we're going to help make sure that you have the tools that it takes to be financially successful, and that you feel confident quoting those prices and creating happy customers while they're paying you what you are worth and what you deserve to be paid. We're also going to help you understand how to offer packages of services so that you're not even tempted to quote your work by the hour. No one ever buys just 1 hour of your time, so don't offer it. Have ways that customers can work with you that satisfy their needs and get you paid what you deserve. Here's something we're also going to talk about and we'll work on again and again and again. We'll keep coming back to it. Articulating your value, or creating, as I call it, your unique value proposition. I consider your unique value proposition to be what I call one of the principles, one of the pillars of marketing. Okay? It is what differentiates you from everyone else, and being able to talk about it in a way that people understand very quickly. So we're going to help you develop and say your unique value proposition and feel comfortable saying it at every opportunity, just like you say your own name. What we've learned over time is that a stranger will give you the gift of 4.2 seconds of attention span. And attention span is probably the most rare commodity in the world. When you're networking or talking to friends or possible clients, you've got to interest them and intrigue them quickly and succinctly. Your unique value proposition not only focuses the conversation and gets people interested in what you're doing, but it helps you stay focused and on track. Am I, following what I talk about in my unique value proposition? Another lesson, how do my customers find me? I find this is particularly a big one with Encores because they worry a lot about, the thoughts about marketing. And they say, how do I find people who are going to buy what I have to offer? And remember this, it's about getting your message in this picture. Don't you love this picture? The megaphone to those who need and want to hear what you have to say, the sleeping soldiers. And we're going to help you do exactly that. So, who is my customer? Well, we talked about one pillar of marketing being your message. The other pillar of marketing is your target customer. Everything else about marketing is getting a tactic to get your message to your target customer. And how many of them are there? How many does it take to support what you're trying to do? You know, the big thing is in our marketing as solos, we absolutely do not have to be Coca-Cola, Walmart, Walgreens, McDonald's. That's not who we are. We are individual, talented, unique solos offering a service, an approach, consulting, an idea to the people who, as I say, are most likely to buy from us. I know that always sounds silly, but you know, that's who we want to go after, the people who are most likely to buy from us. So if you want your marketing to hit the target, you have to know who it is that you are aiming for. So in Best Beginnings, we're going to help you determine who that person is and help you decide how to approach them so that you make the sales you want, but you don't have to think of yourself having to sell to everybody on the planet. Maybe, you know, there's 100 customers for you, and maybe they're exactly the right people. You know, that's what we're going to try to find is those right people. Now, I think that listeners, you can already tell that these ideas are radically different from, you know, standard business plans. And remember, you know, standard business plans are designed to raise money from a bank or a venture capitalist to start a business. You know, we've got many ways to raise money today. If you've don't even have the seed money to start your business, maybe the first $25,000 or so, we can guide you through crowdfunding, because that's a wonderful tool that is available that didn't used to be available. And also point you at some of the grants, not too many, but there are some, and some of the alternative lenders who can come up with seed money to help you get your business started. But there are ways today that didn't used to exist. So we're not going to be about writing a business plan to go raise money from a bank or a venture capitalist. Traditional plans are also full of detailed financial analysis, legal terms, buyout options, product sales, return on investment. Our plan is really about a different thing. It's about making money, yes, but it's also about bringing forth the meaning that you have and the joy and the satisfaction that we want you to get out of having this solo business. So in Best Beginnings, we're going to help you to not only identify your best target customer, but also tell you how to encourage them so that they become very happy, satisfied customers who are going to refer you to other people who also need you. You're going to speak their language, they're going to get it, they're going to refer you to others. I often call the specific marketing that goes on today surgical marketing. And one thing important for you to remember is that the customers who you are seeking are also seeking you. This is a big deal and a huge change in 21st century business over the way business was done before the internet became so prolific. Customers are also looking for you. That means market has become a two-way street. So in Best Beginnings, we're going to work with you to be precise and clear so that you know who you want to work with, and we're going to help you position yourself so that they can easily find you because you are helping them. So we're going to help you be very specific about your marketing program so that you can find and sell to the customers that you want who are looking for you. This is our last lesson, how do I grow? And people say, I can't grow, you know, I'm a solo, how can I grow? How can I do it? So there's some things to remember here. For one thing, we're going to go back to having you remember that a business is a business. And so there are business things that you need to have in place, like financial information, a pricing system, a set of books, invoices, cash collection plans, packages of services, and we want this business to report to you. I think a business is a tool that you create because you want it to do something for you, okay? And, or as Dan said, so then, you know, you want it to do something for you. So we're going to help you hold it accountable to doing that. And then you grow using the principles of what I call the water bug model. That means growing by outsourcing, growing by collaboration. In Best Beginnings, we're going to help you identify the tasks that you should never do, that should be outsourced to other business owners on a business-to-business basis, where the work is being done by those who have a great interest in your success, as opposed to many of us have the experience with employees where they're not interested in our success. They're interested in their success, but they don't particularly care about the success of the organization. When you have outsourced associates, they have a vested interest in your success, and they're going to help make your business better. Much better relationship. So I talked about the water bug model, and we have a picture here of a water bug. And, you know, when I was struggling with identifying and naming the basic principles that a solo must follow to achieve financial success, I was inspired by the water skimmer. Not a beautiful bug, but boy, it's got some wonderful attributes to it. It's their long legs and those little pontoons out there at the end of their legs that keep them from falling in and allow them to move like lightning across the surface of the water. You know, our outsourced partners do the same thing. They perform administrative and financial and marketing services for us and help us make our businesses successful by making sure we're able to devote the majority of our time to our primary work, the work that gives us satisfaction and makes us money. It's a wonderful thing. So by now you might be saying, okay, who should be taking this? Who is this, you know, that we're trying to appeal to? And, you know, we think that Best Beginnings is going to help a solo, an encore, a creative, a professional just simply get off on the right foot. And that if you don't get off on the right foot, it's pretty hard to make a business successful. And we're going to be with you, if you can remember our 7 lessons, from ideation through business design and then in implementation. Most solos have limited time and money. They can't afford to waste their precious resources with lots of mistakes and false starts and wasted time. A lot of times people are simply stuck. They don't know what to do next. And Best Beginnings is really going to help both of those populations move forward. So I want to show you this picture. I was a consultant in the area of total quality management for about 10 years. And I adopted this diagram right out of the process improvement methodology, the plan, do, check, act cycle. Best Beginnings operates and helps you start a business based on this kind of a cycle. Okay, so I'm trying to tell you it isn't magic, even though it's different. And here's what we do. You start with a basic business plan, you know, that's got basic information in it about your product, your customer, your market, your pricing, and then what you do is you go find a customer. It's probably somebody you know, probably somebody that you've been working with, probably a supporter that is very eager for you to get your business started. And, you know, bless them, what they are going to do, we're in the do phase of our cycle, they are going to help you check your assumptions about what they need by giving you feedback, by helping you shape the offerings of your business, shape the way that you talk about that industry, shape the way that you offer your services, and then you are going to be able to move forward and have a much more realistic and solid and appropriate business plan. Now remember, I believe that you can live your dream and begin living it late in life. I'm engaged with the Best Beginning students from start to finish. I'm going to answer questions, and we're offering this as well. I'm going to call it a bundle of resources. It includes a package of worksheets that you will get access to when you register for the program. And as we go through each of the 7 webinars, we will bring up various worksheets that are applicable to that particular lesson, and we will talk about the worksheet, and we will show you that worksheet filled in for a solo. We have an avatar business owner working with us that's taking the whole Best Beginnings program, and you will see how they filled out the worksheets, and then you will have access to the worksheets for you to fill out. Now, what I say is that the webinar itself is an hour each week for 7 weeks, but then you're going to have to do your homework. If you really want to make this work, you need to do your homework. And the homework is for you to spend some time with the worksheets, fill them out, and the webinars are going to be recorded. You will have a link and a code to get back into the recorded webinars, and you can listen to them as many times as you want. You can go back and look at those worksheets. You can see how we think they should be filled out. You can think about them. You can try this, you can try that. You might look at different alternatives, and you really have an opportunity to be creating something that works for you as we go along. When you tune into the next week's webinar, what will happen is we'll say, any questions? What can we answer for you? How did you do with the worksheets? Are they done? And really be able to have it tailored just to you so that you can get back to it, and you're creating the business that you want. I think there's something that also that you need to know in Best Beginnings. Our secret, if you will, is not only that this is a different method, but that we have a belief in you. We're going to draw upon your life experiences, your observations, your practical knowledge and skills, and just plain assume that you know a lot about your work. So we're going to tap in for you to what you already know and bring it forward and help you imagine, create, and develop the business you have always wanted. So who benefits from Best Beginnings? Let's take a look at this. Anybody who's always wanted a financially successful career. Best Beginnings can save you hours and hours and hours of time and dead ends and, mistakes and by looking at things ahead of time before you move up and do them. So it can eliminate a lot of false starts, a lot of dead ends, a lot of things that just, eat up your time and money. How about encores? We've talked a lot about encores today because, Dan has a particular focus with them. And, sometimes we've got to remember that encores are just not finished when they retire. They've got a lot of things they still want to do. They've got unfulfilled dreams, and maybe they've just got to support themselves in retirement. So this is a simple, low-cost way for encores to explore their options and go out and create, a flow of income and a flow of satisfaction for themselves. This is for creatives. I have found that creatives are particularly vulnerable to failure if they try to follow written business advice that's out there on the market that teaches them the corporate model. Artists must do the work of their business. They must write the music, they must sing the song, they must write the book, but they also have all the rest of the standard work to do, and sometimes it's just a huge burden to them. They just can't figure out how there's going to get to be enough hours in the day to not only deliver their creative work, but also to get the business work going. So we're going to keep teaching them the Waterbug model, that they can use that model to outsource the things that they should not be doing. Here's other people. So if you're a solo professional, like an attorney or an accountant or a consultant, Best Beginnings is going to help you narrow your focus to the right target customer. Name and articulate your unique value as a professional. Understand how to find help during busy times without hiring employees. And charge enough money so that you can find success. We're going to talk about the relationship between you and your financial needs and your prices. And we're going to talk to you about how to understand where you fit in the flow of competition that is out there in your particular field. How about as a health professional? If you're an acupuncturist, ND, massage therapist, caregiver, nutritionist, nurse practitioner, lots of different healthcare fields. Best Beginnings is going to help you focus your practice on the right customers and teach you to speak the language that attracts those customers. Remember that piece, speaking the language of your customers? What's going to bring them to you? So it's really important for health practitioners to package their services to generate the revenue they want, to do the services that they want, to make a difference in the community the way that they want to, and they have to charge appropriately for what they do, no matter what everybody else is charging. So we're going to talk to you about how to present yourself for what you're worth and get paid. then what? So you can do what you want with that money. We all know that pricing is an art, and we're going to talk about the value of your experience and your talent and your unique skill set, and encourage you to add non-material items to your pricing equation so that you can feel comfortable asking for a good price for your work. We're also going to encourage you to charge what you're really worth. So this is a combination of practical and competitive research and self-confidence and taking steps with support from us to overcome the fear and move towards financial success. We have a really good support team. And marketing in the digital age, as we've said before, is about your customer finding you as much as it is about you finding your customer. We're going to talk about tools, methods, and approaches for you to use to make yourself visible and easy to find by the people whom you want to approach. So this is the point where I say bye now and encourage you to take the step that can change your life. The course begins on February 4th. It's going to run for 7 weeks through March 17th. We will operate live from 11 to 12 Pacific Standard Time each Thursday with a live online meeting. You'll have homework and worksheets to use. You can, at the live webinar, you can ask questions and interact with everyone else that's on the seminar. But you know, I want you to think about it as a low-risk way to discover whether a solo business will take you where you want to go. So here's our offer. The course costs $497. If you go now to bettersmarterricher.com, the URL that's up on the slide, /bestbeginnings, the first 2 of you who sign up can get a 50% discount, takes the price of the webinar to $248.50, and that is really a deal. And if you continue from this webinar and aren't one of the first 2, we're offering a 10% discount. To get the 50% discount, Susan just put a code up, use code BB50. To get the 10% discount, use the coupon code. It's called BB10. In addition, I'm offering a mastermind class for 6 months following the webinar, and that is going to be for an additional $300. We will meet twice every month for 6 months, and we will work on accountability issues, on achieving your goals, on helping you make sure you're clear about what you've learned in the classes. I am very excited about this. I know it works. That's why I'm so passionate about what it is. You can make a living doing what you love. You can create the business you've always wanted to have, even if it's in retirement. You can be financially successful as a creative. You can find, a flow of money to support your retirement. And this is one of the ways to make that happen. Okay, I've wound down.
Okay, Jackie, can I chime in here?
Yes, you can.
I just wanted to say that there's always concern because people feel that their situation is different. I'm unique. I don't know if this general approach is going to answer my specific questions. And I want to ask you about how people within the course are going to be able to interact with you as they go, so that specific issues they have, will those be addressed?
I am going to make myself available to people. If they email me and have a question, I will work with them on answering that question. And as I say at the end of the program, I'll have a mastermind via phone available also for people that they can tune into. So absolutely yes. I care terribly about people being able to be successful doing this.
I know you do, Jackie. And the other thing I wanted to reiterate that there is a chat function that will be alive and well throughout each of these webinars, so that any question asked immediately, you will know, and you can answer it during the course of the webinar itself.
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to be sure people knew that it just wasn't all one way, that the information was only going outward. There is a real possibility for interaction throughout these courses.
Thanks. Dan, have you got anything to add at this point?
Well, I would just say that people that are wondering about what to do, either because they need to supplement or replace their income, they look around, take a self-assessment, and say, well, here's what I really care about, or here's what I think I might be good at. I think it's worth checking into, and I think, I mean, you're calling it, Jackie, you're calling it a low cost, and I think it really is, because even going through some of these very important questions might encourage a person to step forward and do what they're what they think might be meaningful for them. So I mean, it sounds to me like it could meet the needs of a lot of people in that 50 plus age range.
I've had more than one person say to me, I spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours, and if I had followed this process, I could have cut that by 2/3 to get the business that I have today. I wish this had been there. Time is such a big deal, and it's not just the money, it's the time you can save yourself by getting on a track that is thoughtful, customized just for you, because you're customizing it for you. I'm not customizing it for you. You're customizing it for you, and is something that you really want to do. That alone is worth the price. Much less the dollars.
I want to say too that I suspect there are people who have either started a business that is very wobbly or not fulfilling their dreams as they had hoped. And I would say that those people, even if you've started and failed, that this is a great opportunity for you to correct the course, to shift the course, and to make some changes that will prove successful.
Yes, very much so. Because sometimes, I mean, this isn't all just newbies. Sometimes people are into their solo business and are struggling when, really all we need to do is a course correction, as you called it. Just kind of move things over, maybe drop something that is not in your focus or not a specialty, or articulate it a little better, or get after the right target customer, and all the difference happens because you do it. Well, I'm going to, since we don't have any other questions, I'm going to thank Dan very much for being here. Susan, as always, you're just a fabulous help and a wonderful muse. You've always asked the right question. And I'm going to, Dan, you can tell people that you know and send out information. We will send you a link. People can tune into this webinar. It will be up on the web, and they can listen to it at their leisure and see if it's the right thing for them. And I want to remind you, if you're one of the first two chiming in and use the code BB50, you can do this for $248.50, half price. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Susan. Goodbye.
Thanks, Jackie.